What's good, YouTube? This video is going to be about 5 signs it's time to let go of a relationship, 5 signs it's time to leave a guy. Now, jumping right into this, the first sign that it's time to let go or it's time to leave a guy or a toxic relationship is when there's no concept of loyalty in your partner's heart. A lot of times we hear from guys, especially in the dating manosphere and the dating advice realm, that if a guy's done his part, if he's provided, if he's gotten his money, if he's made himself or his household prosperous, that he doesn't need to be loyal, right? He's entitled to disloyalty or a certain amount of sins, a certain amount of things that he's allowed to do that aren't good for the relationship, but because he's a high earner or he's sought after by a lot of women, he's supposed to have leeway. He's supposed to have more rights and privileges than what he perceives to be a lower value man or a lower earner or a less desired man. But this is just bullshit. If a man doesn't have a concept of loyalty, yet he expects it from you, you're in a one-sided relationship. You're his girlfriend, but he's not your man. You're his wife, but he's not your husband. You are his, but he is not yours, right? You're not in a mutually beneficial relationship. You're not in a cooperative relationship. We hear this from a lot of guys, especially in the manosphere, teaching other men that if they provide something of high value or of rare value, then they therefore don't need to worry about treating their women any kind of way. They can treat their women however they want, and she's just lucky to be there. If he has any idea in his head that he's not required or obligated to be loyal to you, and that you should just be happy or feel lucky that he's with you, you need to move on. He doesn't see your humanity. He only sees your utility as his woman and what you can do for him. That is not a healthy relationship. And he's not offering one. He probably doesn't believe in them as they would be defined normally. Most likely he's a little bit sexist too, so you'll always be beneath him and you'll never be good enough for him unless you're doing exactly what you're being told to do, which makes you property, not a partner. Moving on. The second sign that you should leave a guy, you should move on from a relationship is when growth and evolution is no longer a goal of your partner, but there's still plenty of growth and evolution to go around. Listen, people who have no commitment to change and growth and evolution will suck the life out of you. Okay, you can't have a better relationship with a person who doesn't believe they need to be better at anything. You can't have a prosperous life with someone who's content exactly where they are, whether that be spiritually, mentally, energetically, or financially. Too often people have no concept or commitment to evolution and growth. Too often their partners are dragged down and forced to stop themselves from growing, stop themselves from evolving, and sit stagnant alongside their partners because they start to drag their partners down. They start to anchor their partners in mediocrity, whether that be energetically, spiritually, financially, or otherwise. Women often leave men when they lack ambition because they often watch a man's ambitious goals and desires. But too often they leave out the spiritual ones, the intellectual ones, the energetic ones. Too often a man's only focus in growth is his finances and not in his personhood, not in his humanity, not in his spirit, not in his life journey. Unfortunately, whether or not your partner chooses to grow, you'll always desire growth. And as long as you don't get it, you will find yourself disenchanted. You will find yourself start to resent your partner because they're holding you back. You can't live a full life with someone who doesn't want the fullness of life that you see. A lot of times growth means treating your partner better, becoming a more wise, patient person to live with. It's not just as simple as make more money, make more money. As a person grows and evolves, they become a better family member. They become a better friend. They become a better partner. They apply wisdom to their relationships. But people who have no commitment to growth don't grow in wisdom, don't grow in their deeds, their habits, patterns, and practices. So this year, if whatever they give you isn't optimal, isn't enough, isn't efficient, isn't adequate, you can't expect for them to improve next year because they see no value in improvement. At that point, the relationship is going stagnant anyway, and ultimately you'll grow resentful and your life will start to feel like their lives, stagnant. A relationship isn't supposed to become your life, but it's definitely supposed to add to it. It's definitely supposed to accentuate the great things that happen in life. It's definitely supposed to multiply pleasure. Dragging around a dead weight doesn't do that at all. So if a person's become dead weight, or all they contribute is finances and these other areas of life that they need to evolve in, they refuse to, you need to move on. Because eventually that shit will get old. And if you're watching this video, it probably already has. Moving on. Let go when you realize you have no power, say-so, or influence over your partner. When they stop hearing your voice or placing value on it. Too often I meet women in relationships where it doesn't matter what they think, it doesn't matter what they feel, it doesn't matter what their opinion is, their partner only does what he wants to do. He lives as if he's a single man with a maid or assistant or some kind of subordinate living with him. They feel helpless and hopeless in trying to influence their own partners. Listen, if you don't have any influence over your man, you don't have a man. Okay, one of the first signs that a man values his woman is that she has influence over him. You can start to see a woman's influence in a man's life. But when a woman loses her influence, she's lost her power. And if a man refuses to give a woman that right to influence him, he's not serving the relationship. He's serving himself, again, through the utility of this woman, not through the cooperation of a healthy relationship. If you look up one day and you have no voice, you have no say-so, you have no influence over your man, you've lost him emotionally, you've lost him intellectually. When a man is choosing to shut you out and your opinions and your feelings, he's deciding to be loyal to himself. And it actually takes a great deal of work to disregard someone's emotions when you care about them. So he's actually lost some of his ability to care about you at that point. It might be time to move on if this happens in your relationship. Moving on. The fourth sign that it's time to move on, it might be time to let go or at least think about it is kind of like the last one, but when you see a lack of empathy in your partner, or an inability or an unwillingness to consider your thoughts or feelings or the way that they affect you. If you ever realize that your partner has no regard for the damage they cause in you through their actions, through their deeds, through their words, or through their indifference to you, you're in a relationship with yourself. With love comes empathy and care. If a man doesn't empathize with you, then he'll hurt you and not give a damn about it. And that's what happens a lot of times. Y'all wonder how some of these men turn out to be so heartless, how some of them mismanage and mishandle you so badly. He doesn't see your humanity. He has no empathy in his heart for you. If a man is moving without regard for the damage he causes in you, you need to seriously consider walking away because this is as best as it gets for you at this moment. People don't normally grow in their emotional capacity in time. People don't normally get more attached to people that they've already decided that they're done with. Once a man gets to this point with you, he's decided not to love you, and he's committed to that. So you need to be deciding to move on and love yourself. When you see that a man is cold, he's callous, he's indifferent to your pain, he's not even capable of change at that point for the most part. He can choose to be a nicer person, but he can't choose to care any more than he cares now. It either lives in him or it doesn't. And at this point, it doesn't for you. So please stop wasting your time and move on. Last but not least, the last sign in this video that it's time to move on, it's time to leave your partner, it's time to get out of your relationship is let go when the relationship has become you against them and not you two against the world. Too often I meet people in relationships where it seems to be a win-lose situation no matter what happened, no matter what the argument was about, no matter what the disagreement, no matter what the day, somehow or another, one of them is trying to win over their partners. They see everything as a battle. They see everything as a war, and they're in this shadow war with each other to best each other, to get over on one another. A lot of times in the dating atmosphere, especially on YouTube and TikTok, a lot of guys are teaching other guys how to best women in their relationships and their dating lives. It's all about how to win over a woman. Women in turn have mirrored this, and now they're teaching other women how to win over men. These people don't have a concept of real partnership. These people cannot teach you how to have a healthy relationship if they're trying to teach you how to best your partner. If it ever becomes you versus them, you versus your partner, instead of you two versus the world, you're no longer in a relationship. You're sleeping with the enemy. You're sleeping with the ops. Life is hard enough. The world is hard enough on us. When we go outside, we have to battle all types of isms, all types of prejudice, all types of challenges and battles and wars with other people at our jobs, in our friendships, in the transactions we do, with the businesses we deal with the bills we have to pay, with the services we need or have to administer. We have all of these different challenges throughout our day. It's nothing worse than coming home and then being challenged by your partner where you're supposed to be able to seek refuge, and instead you're getting beat up by your partner. Your partner is trying to defeat you worse than the world defeated you. And we all know how the people closest to you can actually do the most damage to you. Why would you go home to a person who's seeking to do damage or win or best you in order to feel bigger and better and more capable themselves, in order to feel empowered themselves? A real man or a woman isn't trying to best their partner. They're trying to cooperate. They're trying to heal them. They're trying to support them. They're trying to help them and grow with them and grow alongside them. If your relationship ever becomes you versus them, you're no longer in a relationship. You might as well move on and get yourself into a healthier situation. And of course, there are times in life where our relationships aren't perfect. Things like this rear their ugly heads. But if you see more than two of these things from this list in your relationship, you might really want to move on. Sometimes it's about the combination, right? How much can you take? How much can you accept? Is there any hope for this person to move on from these types of behaviors, these types of beliefs? Is there any hope for you yourself if you're the person that's doing this shit? If there's not, there's no reason to stay. Pack your shit, move on. Anyway, that's all I got for now. Follow me at KidFake24 on Instagram. I'll get with y'all later.